Have you ever wondered why some women seem to effortlessly make a man think about them non-stop, while others fade into the background, forgotten almost as soon as they part ways? What if I told you there are 6 powerful, almost shocking secrets that unlock this magnetic pull? Secrets that aren't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not, but about understanding subtle emotional truths that make a man genuinely miss you like crazy. It starts with creating emotional contrast, being warm and connected, but not always available. So he feels the real difference between having you around and missing you when you're gone. Then it's about becoming a source of unique energy, something no one else can give him, making you unforgettable. Throw in the power of the unexpected, surprising him enough to spark his curiosity and keep him guessing. You'll learn why mirroring his effort, but just slightly pulling back, creates irresistible tension that keeps him chasing, all while building a life so full and vibrant, he realizes he has to compete for your attention. And here's the kicker. The moment you end every interaction while the energy is still high, leaving him on a thrilling emotional cliffhanger, is what makes him replay memories of you and crave your presence, ready to discover these secrets that could change the way he thinks about you forever. Let's dive in. You know, one of the biggest mistakes people make when they want someone to miss them is being too present. It sounds counterintuitive, right? I mean, we're taught to show interest, to be there, to show up for the person we like. But here's the reality. No one can miss what's constantly in front of them. If you're always available, always the one to text first, always saying yes, always ready to hang out the second he's free, then you're removing the very possibility of him feeling your absence. And if there's no absence, there's no space for longing, no contrast, no curiosity. Now, let me be really clear. I'm not saying play games. This isn't about pretending to be busy when you're not. This is about understanding that emotional impact comes from contrast. Imagine your favorite song. If you listened to it on repeat all day long, every single day, eventually you'd stop appreciating it. It would blend into the background. It might still be a good song, but the feeling it gave you the first time you heard it, that intensity, that would fade. Why? Because there's no contrast. There's no silence in between to remind you how much you love hearing it. It's the same in relationships. We're so quick to think that love is shown in how much we give, how much we're willing to sacrifice, how readily available we make ourselves. But true connection isn't just built in presence. It's built in the impact your presence has when you show up. And that only happens when you're not constantly there. He needs the quiet to hear the echo of your presence. He needs a little distance to realize how good it felt to be close to you. Think about it this way. If he's texting you and you're replying immediately every single time, if you're always the one to say yes to plans without hesitation, then you're teaching him to expect you without effort. And we don't value what we don't invest in. If he never has to work to see you, to talk to you, to keep your attention, then he's not experiencing the reward of earning your time. That's not mystery. That's not desire. That's convenience. You want to make him miss you? Be present in a way that sticks, not in a way that smothers. When you're with him, be fully there. Laugh, connect, be warm, kind, affectionate, real. That's what creates emotional weight. That's what leaves a mark. And then instead of stretching that moment out endlessly until it fades, step away. Let him feel that contrast. Let him notice the difference when you're not around. Because it's in that space where the magic happens. That's when he starts wondering, what's she doing? Why hasn't she texted yet? Is she thinking about me? That's when his brain starts filling in the blanks. And every little memory of you, your voice, your smile, the way you made him feel, becomes amplified. Not because you pushed it in his face, but because you gave it room to breathe. This kind of space doesn't mean pulling away in a cold or punishing way. It's not about creating anxiety. It's about creating value. A man misses you when he sees that your world is full, when he sees that your time is something precious, something not handed out easily, but given with intention. That's what makes your presence powerful. That's what makes it memorable. And listen, if he's worth it, if he's emotionally mature, he'll love that about you. He'll respect the fact that you have boundaries, that you don't drop everything just because he calls. He'll admire your self-respect. He'll chase that feeling he gets when he's with you, not because you're always there, but because you know when to pull back and let him come to you. It's the balance between being emotionally available and energetically sovereign. You don't owe anyone constant access to your energy. Your time is a gift. Your presence is a privilege. And when you start treating it like that, other people start treating it like that too. So if you want him to miss you, don't try harder. Don't do more. Do less. With more meaning. Be intentional with your presence. Make every moment you give him count, and then let it go. Let the space between moments remind him just how much they meant. You know, one of the biggest reasons a man will miss you like crazy isn't because of what you say or do in a traditional sense. It's because of the unique energy you bring into his world. And this is where most women miss the point. They think they need to be more charming, more attentive, more available. But the truth is, the thing that pulls a man back to you again and again is how you make him feel on a deeper level. Not just when he's around you, but also when he's not. Imagine this, when he thinks of you, what's the first feeling that pops up? Is it comfort, boredom, obligation, or is it excitement, curiosity, and something a little bit electric? Something he can't quite put his finger on, but knows he needs more of. If it's the latter, you've tapped into what I call unique energy. And that's what makes you unforgettable. You don't have to be flawless or constantly entertaining. You don't have to be the funniest or the most beautiful person in the room. What you do need is to show up as yourself, fully and unapologetically, with an energy and vibe that no one else can replicate. Because here's the thing, people miss what they can't replace. If any woman could step in and give him the same vibe, the same laugh, the same feeling, then it's easy for him to move on. But if you're the woman who gives him something different, something rare, then he won't just miss you, he'll crave you. That energy you bring can come from so many things. It might be your warmth and kindness, that genuine way you listen and make someone feel seen. Or maybe it's your fire, your ambition, your passion for life that makes you light up a room. Perhaps it's the way you challenge him intellectually or emotionally, pushing him to be better without making him feel like he's under attack. Whatever it is, it's uniquely yours. And that's what he connects with on a level deeper than just physical attraction. Now, a big part of this is about being real. You don't want to try and manufacture some mysterious energy or put on a show for him. That's exhausting, and eventually it falls flat. Instead, it's about tuning into what genuinely excites you, what brings you joy, and letting that shine through. When you're passionate and present in your own life, that vibe is magnetic. It pulls people in naturally. And when a man feels that, he's not just interested, he's hooked. This is why it's so important to cultivate your own happiness and sense of purpose. If you're just waiting around for him to show up and give you that spark, you're handing over your power. But if you're living your life fully, chasing your dreams, and loving yourself fiercely, then the energy you send out says, I am a woman who's worth investing in. And believe me, that's exactly the kind of energy men can't help but miss when they're not around. Also, unique energy isn't just about big, flashy moments. It's often in the small things. How you say his name with warmth, that slight smile when he makes a joke, the way your eyes light up when you talk about something you love. These little details become imprinted in his mind, And when he's apart from you, those are the things that replay like a favorite song, pulling him back. There's also something powerful about the way you carry yourself, your confidence, your calm, your grace under pressure. That quiet strength tells him you're someone who values herself and won't settle for less than you deserve. Men respect that, they admire it, and they definitely miss it when it's gone. Because it's not just about attraction, it's about respect and admiration too. Another layer to this is the energy you bring into conversations and interactions. Are you engaging, curious, playful, or are you passive and predictable? The more you can keep things fresh and alive, the more he's going to want to come back for more. People naturally crave stimulation, whether that's intellectual, emotional, or physical. So be the woman who brings light and energy, not the one who drains it. It's also worth mentioning that this unique energy you cultivate becomes your personal signature. It's like your scent or your style is how people identify you and remember you. And the more distinct that signature is, the harder it is to forget. So don't be afraid to lean into what makes you you, whether that's your humor, your quirks, your interests, or the way you care fiercely for the people around you. Own it. That ownership is powerful. What's truly shocking is how subtle this is. You don't have to be over the top or extravagant to have a magnetic energy. Sometimes just showing up as your authentic self with a little extra spark is enough. And when you're missing, that spark leaves a gap he can't fill with anyone else. So, if you want a man to miss you like crazy, focus on being the source of an energy no one else can give him. Make your presence a gift, not a guarantee. Live your life so fully and so brightly that when you're gone, he feels the absence deeply, because that's the kind of energy that hooks a man's heart and mind, not just for a moment, but for the long haul. You know, one of the biggest mistakes women make when they want a man to miss them is falling into this trap of predictability. It's so easy to get comfortable, especially when you like someone. You start doing the same things every time you talk, going to the same places, sharing the same stories, and basically becoming this perfectly familiar person in his life. But the thing is, familiarity doesn't breed desire, it often kills it. Because when someone becomes predictable, your brain stops paying attention to them. It's like background noise. You don't notice it anymore, you don't crave it. And that's the opposite of making someone miss you. So here's the secret. Mystery is magnetic. It's the spice that keeps things alive. Think about the people who have really stuck with you over time. Chances are, it wasn't just because they were nice or fun, but because they were unpredictable in a good way. They kept you guessing, intrigued, and wanting to know more. That's exactly the energy you want to bring into your connection. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be confusing or play games. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about being interesting, being someone who has layers and depth, who isn't an open book right away, who doesn't reveal everything all at once. There's a real power in holding back a little, in letting parts of yourself unfold over time. When you reveal yourself slowly, you give him a reason to come back, to want to see what's next, to feel like there's always more to discover. And one of the best ways to create that mystery is to bring elements into your life that surprise him. Maybe it's a hobby he didn't know about, or a way you think about things that's different from what he's used to. Maybe it's a story you share, or a small act that shows your unique perspective. When you do this, you become someone who stands out, someone who leaves an impression, someone who isn't just another person in his world. I want you to think about the last time you really missed someone. Was it when you felt like you had figured them out completely? Or was it when there was still a sense of unknown? Usually, it's the latter. That feeling of, I don't know what she's doing right now, or there's something about her I don't quite understand, pulls us in. That curiosity fuels the emotional connection and makes the distance between you feel bigger, more meaningful. It also means you want to be comfortable with being a little elusive sometimes. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that respects your own complexity. You don't have to answer every text right away or share every detail about your day. Instead, leave space for him to wonder what you're up to imagine you in his mind. When you're too available or too transparent, you take away that spark of mystery that keeps him thinking about you even when you're not there. Now, there's a balance here, of course. You don't want to disappear or play hard to get to the point where he feels like you're unreachable or disinterested. That's not what this is about. It's about being fully present when you're together or when you're communicating, but also having a rich, full life outside of him that doesn't revolve around constant contact. Because when you do that, you're not just another option, you're someone with a life and a personality that he wants to be part of. That richness in your life is what makes your unpredictability authentic. It's not just random surprises for the sake of surprise. It's a natural reflection of who you are and the passions that drive you. When he senses that you're living your life fully and that there's always something new or interesting happening, he's going to want to check back in to be part of that world. That's how missing you turns into wanting you. One practical way to do this is by introducing new experiences or perspectives when you're together. Share something you've learned recently. Talk about a spontaneous trip you want to take, or show enthusiasm for a hobby that excites you. Those moments create emotional highs and give him something fresh to remember. And then, when you're apart, those memories work in his mind, stirring up curiosity and desire. Another thing to remember is that unpredictability doesn't mean chaos. It's not about being flaky or inconsistent. It's about being dynamic. It's about showing that you're a person who's constantly evolving and growing. That's deeply attractive. Men want to feel like they're part of a journey, not just a routine. Finally, I want you to understand that when you bring mystery and unpredictability into the connection, you're not only making him miss you, you're also building respect. Because people respect those who have standards, who aren't desperate, who don't put all their cards on the table right away. They respect someone who values themselves enough to keep a bit of their world private, to have a life outside of the relationship, and to remain intriguing. So, next time you find yourself wanting to text him again or reveal everything you're feeling, pause and ask yourself, am I being predictable? Am I making it easy for him to know exactly where I am and what I'm doing? Or am I creating a little mystery, leaving a space for him to wonder and come back? Because that space, that mystery, is what makes a man think about you, miss you, and ultimately want you like. One of the biggest mistakes women make when they want a man to miss them is trying too hard to match his energy exactly, or worse, to give more than he's giving. It sounds counterintuitive, but when you match him perfectly, it actually removes a lot of the tension that makes someone chase or desire you. It feels like there's nothing left to earn, nothing left to figure out. And once that tension disappears, so does the magnetic pull. Think about it. What makes chasing someone exciting? It's the challenge, the slight uncertainty, the feeling that you have to put in a bit of effort to get closer. If you show up with everything, if you respond instantly to every text, if you're always there to meet him exactly where he is, it takes away the natural rhythm of give and take. And that rhythm is what keeps a man intrigued and wanting more. But here's the secret. The most effective way to keep him hooked is to mirror his effort, but then pull back just a little bit, not in a manipulative way, not by playing games, but by creating a subtle imbalance. Let him give you a little more than you give him. Let him put in just a bit more energy, attention, or affection than you do, this tiny difference triggers something powerful. It makes him lean in, lean forward, chase a bit, because suddenly the connection isn't entirely in his hands anymore. Imagine you're at a dance and you're perfectly in sync with your partner. Every step exactly mirrored. It's nice, but it's predictable. Now imagine if you take a slight pause here and there. If you change the rhythm just a little, it makes him notice. It makes him adjust. It makes him want to come back into your space. That's the subtle art of pulling back. This isn't about ignoring him or disappearing. It's about holding your own energy and not rushing to fill every quiet moment with a message or a call. It's about creating a space where he has to wonder, is she really as available as she seems? That uncertainty is magnetic. It activates his desire to reconnect and to secure that space with you. When you pull back slightly, you're also showing yourself that you don't need his constant attention to feel worthy or complete. And this self-respect and confidence is incredibly attractive. It says, I'm here, I'm interested, but I'm not desperate. I have my own life, my own rhythm, and guess what? That's exactly the energy that makes a man miss you. It's a delicate balance. If you pull back too much, he'll lose interest because it feels like you're shutting him out or not caring. But if you don't pull back at all, he'll feel like he's got you on tap, and that makes you ordinary in his eyes. So the key is to calibrate your response. If he texts you twice today, reply once. If he suggests meeting up 3 times this week, meet twice. If he shares something personal, match his openness, but don't overwhelm him with your own stories right away. This approach lets him feel in control just enough to want to keep chasing, while you keep your dignity and your allure intact. It's like holding a card close to your chest, never showing all your hand at once. And men are wired to want to reveal more, to get closer, to be trusted. When you don't rush to give him everything, he's invited to step up and invest more. You might be wondering, won't he just lose interest if I don't give him what he wants immediately? Actually, the opposite happens. When a man feels that he needs to earn your time and affection, he values it more. It doesn't feel like a given anymore. It feels like something special. And that's when he starts thinking about you when you're not around, wondering when he'll see you next, feeling that pull to reconnect. The trick is to remain genuine throughout. Don't hold back out of fear or insecurity. Hold back because you respect yourself, because you know your worth, and because you want him to come to you, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. That kind of withholding isn't about playing mind games. It's about pacing the connection so it can grow stronger over time. And there's another side to this too. When you pull back just a little, you give yourself space to breathe and reflect. You're not constantly reacting to his every move, which means you can observe how he behaves when you're not immediately available. This insight is golden because it shows you how invested he really is. If he keeps reaching out, if he keeps trying, that's your cue that he's genuinely interested and missing you in a healthy way. If he fades, then maybe he wasn't as committed as you thought, and that's valuable information to have. At the end of the day, this subtle dance of mirroring and pulling back is about respecting the natural rhythm of attraction. It's about understanding that desire isn't a constant state. It fluctuates, it builds, it retreats, and that ebb and flow is what makes someone truly miss you. So remember, give a little less than you get, not because you want to manipulate him, but because you want to create a connection that's alive, breathing, and worth chasing. And that's how you make a man miss you like Crave. One of the most powerful things you can do to make a man truly miss you is to build a life that's so full, so rich, that he actually has to compete with it. Now, I don't mean compete in a petty way, but in a way that shows you are a person of value, someone who isn't just waiting around for his attention or approval. You want to be someone who has a life brimming with meaning, joy, and purpose. a life that lights you up from the inside out. When a man sees that you're deeply invested in your own growth, your passions, your friendships, and your goals, it shifts everything. Suddenly, you're not just this person who's available whenever he feels like calling or texting. Instead, you're a woman who's moving forward, creating momentum in her life, and it sends a clear message. Your world does not revolve around him. And that kind of independence, it's magnetic. Here's why this matters so much. If you live your life waiting for his texts or anxiously checking your phone to see if he's reached out, you're sending a signal that your happiness depends on him. That's not attractive. That's desperation disguised as affection, and it turns people off more than anything. But if he sees you out there living your life fully, laughing with friends, crushing your goals, trying new things, taking care of yourself emotionally and physically, he realizes that his place in your world isn't automatic. He has to earn it. And when a man has to earn his place, he invests more emotionally. He values your time, your attention, your company. He starts to wonder, is this woman really available for me? Or is she too busy living a life that's already amazing? That uncertainty, that challenge creates a healthy tension that fuels attraction. It keeps you on his mind because he doesn't want to lose something that's clearly so vibrant and alive. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about living authentically and fully, regardless of whether he's in your life or not. When you focus on yourself and your own happiness first, you're not only happier, you're more desirable. Confidence comes from knowing you don't need validation from anyone else to feel worthy. That kind of confidence shines through in your energy, your conversations, even your body language. Now think about it this way. If you're always available, always eager to drop everything for him, it can become too easy. There's no challenge in that. But if you have a schedule, commitments, and interests that require your attention, you're setting boundaries that communicate self-respect. It shows you value your time and your emotional well-being. And ironically, by stepping back and focusing on yourself, you actually create more space for him to step up if he wants to be part of your life. Another important part of building this full life is nurturing your friendships and connections outside of your romantic relationship. When a man sees you surrounded by people who care about you, who support you, who make you laugh and grow, he knows you're not alone. You're a person with a community and roots, which makes you more stable and grounded. It also signals that your world is bigger than just the two of you, which again sparks his desire to belong because he senses that what you have to offer is substantial. This fullness in your life also encourages a mindset shift from one of neediness to one of abundance. Instead of thinking, if I don't have this guy, I'll be incomplete, you begin to think, I'm already whole. If he chooses to be with me, if not, my life will still be rich and beautiful. That perspective is incredibly empowering. It frees you from the trap of chasing and clinging and instead allows you to attract the kind of attention that's genuine and lasting. You want him to realize that being with you is a privilege, not a given. Because when someone values themselves and the life they've created, it naturally invites others to value them too. People are drawn to those who respect themselves, who have standards, and who don't settle for less than they deserve. So, by building a life full of passion and purpose, you're also setting the bar for how he should treat you. And here's the kicker. When you have this kind of life, missing you becomes inevitable. It's not just about physical absence, but emotional absence. He starts to notice the moments when you're not there and feels the gap because you bring something unique and powerful into his world. You become someone whose energy, presence, and light he genuinely misses because it reminds him of what's possible. So don't put your life on hold waiting for him. Live it fully, love yourself fiercely, and cultivate a world that excites you. Because when you do that, you become unforgettable. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to build attraction or keep a guy interested is that they don't pay attention to how they end their interactions. It might sound small or even a bit trivial, but I promise you, this is where a lot of women unknowingly lose their power. Because here's the truth. The way you leave a moment, the energy you choose to walk away with can make all the difference between a guy thinking about you nonstop or slowly drifting away. Think about the last time you had a really great conversation with someone. Maybe it was a date, a phone call, or even just texting back and forth. Was there a point where the energy shifted? Maybe it started strong, but by the end it felt like it was fizzling out. Or worse, it ended awkwardly or with silence that didn't feel good. Chances are, if that interaction didn't end on a high note, if it didn't leave both of you feeling energized, excited, or wanting more, he's less likely to be replaying it in his head. And if he's not replaying it, he's not missing you. Here's why that matters. Our brains are wired to hold on to emotional peaks. When you end things on a positive, exciting note, you create a kind of emotional highlight reel in his mind. It's that moment he'll go back to when he's bored or alone or just scrolling through his day. But if you drag things out until the energy dies, or worse, end when things are low or tense, you don't give him that mental highlight. Instead, you leave him with a flat or even negative feeling. And that's not something he'll want to revisit. So the key is to become a master of timing when it comes to ending your interactions. You want to finish while things are still good, while the vibe is still exciting before it starts to fade. This doesn't mean you have to be abrupt or rude. It means you get really tuned in to the emotional rhythm of the moment and you choose to step away before the energy drops. You might wonder, but won't he think I'm pulling away or losing interest? Actually, no. When you end on a high, it makes you seem confident and in control. It shows you have standards for how you want to be treated and how you want the interaction to feel. It sends a very powerful message that you value yourself and your time enough not to stay when things aren't sparking. And that's incredibly attractive. There's also something a little magical about the unknown you leave behind. When you say goodbye or end a call or a date at just the right moment, you create a sense of anticipation. He's left wondering, what's next? When will I get to see her again? What will happen then? That anticipation creates space for him to start missing you because it's this emotional cliffhanger that keeps you alive in his mind. It works in everyday situations too. Imagine texting with a guy. Instead of chatting endlessly until the conversation peters out, try wrapping it up when you're still laughing, sharing something fun, or flirting just enough to leave him wanting more. A simple, I've got to go, but this was great, talk soon with a little playful tone leaves him smiling and curious. If you keep texting past that point, the conversation can lose its spark and your words might start to feel routine or even like a chore. On a date, it's the same. If you feel the night reaching a natural close or the energy beginning to dip, that's your cue to say something positive and leave while things are still buzzing. I had such a great time tonight. I can't wait to do this again. Then walk away with a smile, leaving while the mood is good. Leaves a powerful impression. It's the kind of moment he'll remember when he's alone, and it will pull him back in. I want you to think about it like this. Every interaction is like a mini story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Your goal isn't to drag out the story until it's boring or messy. It's to craft it so that it ends on a high note with a bit of mystery and excitement left unresolved. That unresolved excitement is what creates the pull, the kind that makes a man miss you like crazy. Another thing to keep in mind is how this ties into your overall vibe. When you end interactions on a high, it reinforces that you're a woman who brings light and positivity into his life, not stress, confusion, or boredom. And that feeling, that's addictive. Everyone wants to come back to someone who leaves them feeling good, even if it's just for a moment. Also, don't underestimate the power of confidence here. When you confidently end things on a good note, you're telling him, without words, that you're in charge of your emotional world. You're not desperate to keep the conversation going or to win his attention in that moment. You have a life outside of him, and you know your worth. That kind of energy is magnetic. It makes him want to be the one who chases you because he's intrigued by your independence and self-respect. Now, this doesn't mean you should ghost him or vanish without explanation. It's about being graceful and intentional. The way you say goodbye, the tone you use, the energy you leave behind, all of that matters. You can be warm, playful, and engaging right up until you leave. It's about quality, not quantity. Ultimately, mastering the art of ending interactions on a high note is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your dating toolbox. It shows emotional intelligence, it builds anticipation, and it plants the seeds of longing in his mind. He won't just think about you because you were there. He'll miss you because you left him wanting more. Remember this, the next time you're chatting, texting, or on a date, notice the energy, listen to your instincts, and step away at just the right moment, before the magic fades. When you do that, you don't just keep him interested, you make him.